All right. How you doing? Hey, good morning. So, this is I'm just making a video now. This is no longer for my Kickstarter, so I'm just making a video because that's what I'm going to start doing now. I got to get used to it. Going to be on camera a lot probably when things start getting big. I look like shit, but that's okay. I've been up since 5. I woke up at 5 this morning. All right, I got to get to the point. Okay. So, I was commenting on this thing about mental illness. Okay. So, they're saying, oh, it's not a gun problem, it's a mental illness problem. I don't think that they understand what mental illness is, right? Because there's two words that are there, and they're not. Neither of them mean what they think they mean. Because when they say mental illness, they think the dude in Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees, swinging an axe around. That's mental illness to them, right? When in fact, it's two words. I mean, it's mental, meaning up here in your melon, and illness, which is being sick. Okay, so like when somebody like you're not scared of somebody who has cancer, right? You don't put them away. You don't put them in a prison because they have cancer. You give them medicine and you make them better. You don't when somebody breaks their leg, you don't tase them because they're hurt. You help them to feel better. If somebody's mentally ill, you help them to feel better. And I'm telling you, at this point, they got lots and lots of ways to help people who are really messed up. And the thing is, even the people that are really messed up, like I'm talking like real. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. I met a guy the other night. His name's Omar. He is just about as scary a dude as, I mean, everything from the fact that he's in South Central LA, the fact that he rides this crappy bike, the fact that he's wearing ratty clothes, the fact that he's got this ratty beard, the fact that he's a black guy, the fact that he's got this cap on, the fact that he kind of has this face that looks like, he might he might kill you. But the other night I was walking the dog with E and I was like, is that the guy? Because apparently, so one night I'm like in bed, asleep, sound asleep, and I get a phone call from Elle, who was our neighbor. You might have seen her in one of the videos. And she says, Kevin, there's a guy outside my window looking in. And, me being, the guy that I am, I like jump up and like run out and like go to like expecting there to be like, I don't know, like a monster, like a vampire or something, I mean, what do you expect in the middle of the night? And I go and it's this dude and he's sort of leaning back and he's just kind of like looking at the door. And I'm like, hey man, how you doing? And he's like, hey, I'm okay. And I'm like, you're scaring people, right? He's like, oh, no, am I? Why? Why am I scaring people? I'm just waiting for my friend. And I was like, okay, all right. All right, man, come on. Come on, you gotta come with me. So I sort of like gently take him down and like walk him off the property, and I'm like, fella, you can't do that. You can't just stand and be weird at 3 in the morning. People get scared. You know that, right? And he's like, oh no, I didn't realize because I was just waiting for my friend. I was like, all right, fine. So I go back, and then all the girls are there from the neighborhood, and they're like, what was happening? What was happening? And I was like, I walked him off. What? Nothing happened. he was fine. And they're like, well, it's good that you got to him because if I would have gotten to him, this is what Aaron's saying, I would have blasted his face off with my anger. And that's cool. Like that's like an approach, I guess, but it's not my approach. Um, but this guy was not. This guy would, if you would run up to him and been like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Get out of my bed!" He would have just been like completely baffled, and you know, well, I don't know. Maybe he would have done. Maybe he would have like fight or flight, But I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna get into that because people got to react. I mean, you do something like that, you're taking your chances, right? You fuck around in other people's houses. So anyway, so that's this guy. That's this guy, Omar. And the other night, I'm walking the dog with Aaron and Pickles, and Pickles is just like la 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 Pickles. He doesn't care, and so he just runs back, and then I like pass him, and I'm like, "Hey, is that the guy from the other night?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm gonna go talk to him." She's like, "No, don't talk to him." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not. He's just sitting there. I'm just gonna talk to him." So I go to talk to him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He's like, "It's a nice night," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's a great night, beautiful night. I mean, you usually are in L.A." And we just start talking, and about I mean, it's not, it's like 30 seconds into this conversation, and I'm like, okay, this guy is nuts. Because he's talking about things like, you know, he's pulling out his cell phone and showing me like the programs on his cell phone that are like registering his DNA and stuff, and that he's got people that he knows, and that there are people, and he's like, and so like he's going on this like whole tangent about like crazy stuff, and it's fascinating. I'm like listening to it. I'm like, I love this, but I stop him and I say, dude, okay, one thing, I have to ask you a question. Are you dangerous? And he like looked at me and he looked kind of confused, and then he looked up and he said, no, no, I'm a defender. I don't attack people. I defend people. And I was like, so you're just out here protecting everybody. And like, he's like, yeah, I mean, I've got this, look at my cell phone. And he starts going on into his shit again. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's a good start. Uh, because, he's a defender. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. And that's great. My the concern then becomes like, who is he defending against? And then if it suddenly becomes he's defending against, you know, if he starts thinking that people that are walking around him are robots and he has to defend against them, then and he starts whipping them with a bike chain, then that's not good. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like defend. I mean, I'd rather he was just like, no, I'm a completely nothing. I'm a marshmallow. But I mean, at least he's a good guy. He's one of the good guys. I mean, you just got to be careful with the good guys too, because you never know who the good guys really like trying to defend. Anyway, I don't know if there's a point to all this. So eventually, I talk to him and I talk to him and I talk to him, and I'm like, okay, do you are you going to continue to scare people in our little housing area? And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to. I mean," I was like, "Well, you were up there, standing across from my neighbor L's house." He's like, "Who?" I was like, "No, I was waiting for that other guy, the guy and the girl that lived there." And there's a guy and a girl that live there, and so there's a guy that lives there named, it doesn't matter, but he lives there, and he obviously talked to him at one point, like I'm talking to this guy, and so he was like thinking that guy was gonna come talk to him, which he wasn't gonna do, but whatever. Um, so long story short, it was a misunderstanding, but even this, okay, so the point of this, okay, now I'm hitting 10 minutes, so you probably already turned this off. But even this guy is literally, he's crazy. Like, he's nuts. He is like, he believes that there are angels that are up there that are doing things, and like, he has got a disconnect from reality. He is not dangerous. He might be dangerous to himself. I mean, I kept asking him if he was safe and if he had a place to go. I mean, he's getting along. He's just weird, you know? I mean, I think some people saw him like naked in an alley, like rubbing up against a garbage bag. And I mean, it's like, yeah, that's weird. That he's not hurting anybody, but that's weird. And we don't really want that. But, you know, he's not, the people who are shooting up schools, they're not mentally ill. They're not crazy thinking that they're shooting up schools because they're crazy. They're shooting up schools because they're fucking pissed off because their life doesn't match up to what they expect their life to be. That's it. I don't understand why everybody's making such a big deal about all these questions. It's because it's not, I mean, you can have like mental illness, things can like affect you and stuff like that. Like, if you have bipolar disorder, you might get super hyper and stuff, and if you don't deal with it correctly, yeah, maybe you might hurt somebody. But when it comes down to it, you are not, mental illness does not mean you are not in control of your actions at all. Like, this guy was crazy, but he was lucid. Like, he wasn't like defying gravity or anything, he just was crazy. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, this whole mental illness thing, it's great. I want this guy to get help. Like, Omar, as far as I'm concerned, Omar, if he's happy, I'd love it if we could just like let him loose in like a state park or something where he could just like do all his thing and be safe and be happy for his whole life. I mean, he didn't seem like an unhappy guy to me. I mean, trying to make people normal is not the answer necessarily, because what is normal, first of all, and second of all, fuck, I mean, he might be having a better time than most of you people out there with his craziness, you know? Like, he's out there thinking that he's protecting the world from evil angels. Like, do you think that when you're sitting at your computer and like at work and like doing spreadsheets? I mean, are you protecting the universe from bad guys? I mean, fuck, I say more power to him if he's gonna protect him. And who am I to say if Omar, like, maybe if Omar died, maybe the angels would come down and kill us. There's just no way to know. I mean, it's very possible. The world is not as what we think it is. I mean, it's not exactly the shit that we see every day is like the shit that we see every day, but it's not like, it doesn't always have to be this way. The sun rises and sets, but you know, it doesn't have to be that way. Something could happen. Something could hit the sun and make the sun turn off and we'd be dead in a second. I mean, any insane amount of millions of things could happen. We just don't think about it. And maybe that's what being crazy is. You start thinking about all the crazy stuff that happens, and you're just like, okay, well, now I got to deal with it. But anyway, so this is my rant about mental illness. I will say that I've noticed throughout this thing that I do need to use that goddamn trimmer I bought for the fucking nose hair things. Okay, please try to not be completely disturbed by my nose hairs. But you're gonna be, because it fucking drives me crazy. Okay. Anyway, I love you all dearly, my birdies. I'll see you in the funny papers.